Hi Vicky.
Hi Will.
Lovely to have you here today, and we're looking forward to talking to you about the challenges of running and growing an accounting firm. But before we get started, perhaps if you want to give a quick introduction, tell us a little bit about your firm, your journey, where it started and where you are now.
Yeah, so my firm's been up and running now for just over 2 years. I've been in finance since early noughties, worked for kind of big firms, and eventually in about 2020 I had complete burnout, couldn't work anymore, gave up, wasn't going to be in finance, set up my own wee nail bar business with my friend. And when I was doing that, me being me, I researched how to run a business. And all the people that I was talking to about running small businesses, I ended up giving accounting advice to. And actually, maybe I could do accounting in a different way to how I was doing it with the big firms, and in a way that fits my personality, my attitudes and kind of ethos better.
Yes.
And the firm started from there. Started very small, then took off. We went from 10 clients to 110 in about a year, which was massive growth. And yeah, we're heading for not quite the same growth this year, but building a very strong practice, based on people.
And that's impressive growth. So clearly you've got lots of things right, and we're going to talk about some of that during our conversation today. But you kind of said that you left the profession with the plan to never go back on the basis of your own experiences. But you've set up a firm now. It's growing, it's doing well, it's been well received by the team you've built and the clients that you've got. So what's changed, do you think, in terms of the profession? It's a different place now to perhaps what it was before.
I think I used to phrase myself as a new accountant, and then kind of thinking back, I was like, well, no, actually, I'm a very old style accountant. I'm there to offer that support, the guidance, the help. When you had your lawyer, your bank manager, your accountant on speed dial for any help that you needed in your business. You want to bring that back, that you're not just somebody who gets sent numbers and you ping a report back. You're somebody who speaks to the client, who builds what the client needs. And it's focused around them, not just how much income's coming in.
So you're right, it's actually going back to the way we used to be in terms of putting the client at the very centre of everything that we do. And in terms of, as an accounting firm owner now, so much, isn't there, in terms of technology and rethinking processes, because technology's given us the ability to work smarter, work differently with the way we work with clients. So as a firm owner, you've got to deal with winning clients, onboarding clients, building a team, setting up systems to manage the workflows, making sure the work gets done on time. And then you've got to focus on actually what the client wants, and it creates a whole load of things for us to kind of deal with and have to understand and put in place and manage. You've obviously had experiences of that as you've grown your firm. So perhaps we start at the beginning in terms of thinking about the winning clients, the onboarding clients. So what's working?
I think the first thing that I realised was the way that we were pricing was kind of finger in the air. This sounds about right, let's go for it. And I think kind of the example I've used previously was I had a client that was £50 a month, including their software subscription, doing VAT returns. It was a shop, so having to deal with stock. I was like, I can trump
that. And the point on this is that I've worked with many firms, and firms will often talk to me about coming in to talk about process and technology. But without exception, every firm I work with, we end up talking about vision and values and pricing, without exception. And I'm as guilty as everybody else. I went 8 years without increasing prices. And I took on the story I always use is I took on a client in 2008. I priced them I sold I do what every good accountant does, sold them what I thought they wanted to buy rather than what they actually wanted to buy. And I charged them £125 a month. They were new business. 8 years later, they were doing 1.6 million turnover. They had 34 people on payroll. We were doing the payroll, and I was still charging them £125 a month. So completely understand that. Sorry, back to you, Vicky.
So I think we brought on Go Proposal, which actually gave structure to how we were pricing. You set your prices up, and then when you're doing kind of client onboarding, you run through all the services that they could possibly need. And especially one of the things that we liked about it was the kind of benchmark, what might you need in the future?
Yes.
Because quite often you'd say, okay, well, I think let's pop the information in.
Yep.
You can have a think about it,
Yep.
and invariably they'll come back and say, oh, actually, yeah, that would be really good.
Yes.
Good to have. And the ones that they come back and say that would be good to have are those added value services.
Very much so.
So they come to you saying, yeah, we need someone doing the bookkeeping.
Yeah.
I said, well, actually, kind of similar. What they actually need
Yes.
is somebody giving them management accounts.
Yeah.
Somebody looking at their cash flow, and being able to kind of build that into your initial, quotation and price, and having it in a lovely kind of format.
Yeah.
It gives a really good first impression.
Yes.
To clients,
Yeah.
and the way that it's set up, that you can have your branding on it, all that kind of, it just makes a nice clean flow.
Yes.
And the number of people who have commented on what the proposal looks like, it gave them confidence.
Yes.
It's not just Joe Bloggs down the street scribbling on the back of a paper.
Yes.
It's a professional company that's giving you a professional quotation.
Yep.
And it's just that first impression.
It comes back to first impression, doesn't it? And I think that it also helps overcome the things that as accountants we're naturally not very comfortable with, in terms of we're not comfortable salespeople, we're too nice, and starts to get us thinking about a structure that makes it much harder for us to deviate from.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of value in that. So likewise, we used Go Proposal very early on, and it was great to be able to let our team get involved in that pricing process. So that's onboarding. We get the clients on, and it will do your engagement letters and all of those kind of things as well. Nice and slick process. Great first impression. Then we've got to service the clients, haven't we?
Yes.
So and again, when you're doing the kind of growth that you did, is very easy, and the way that we price now in terms of clients paying us almost in advance.
Yeah.
I fell into the trap that I'd think, oh great, we're making money now, and then you get to the point where you got to do the end of year accounts, and you think, I haven't got enough people. So we've got to think about recruitment. We've got to think about efficiency in terms of the way we operate. So, what did you learn in terms of setting up the systems and processes to help you deal with that growth?
Yeah, I think automation.
Yeah.
You can't have that kind of growth without having good automation in place.
Yep.
I think we were talking earlier about bank feeds.
Yes.
Surprising how many clients can be resistant to the idea.
Yes.
But once they kind of see the benefit
Yep.
of you can have up-to-date information.
Yes.
And it's very easy to keep up to date. When you can go in, you see how many transactions need dealt with.
Yes.
You can get on top of it. You can make sure you've got the receipts. So we use auto entry.
Yep.
So clients can just send us all the information.
Yes.
And it's also very easy for us to chase them up and say, okay,
Yep.
thanks for sending us those, but could you send us all your Amazon receipts as well? And you're having that just naturally feed into the system.
Yes.
Means that it's taking away a lot of that kind of manual labour.
Yep. And something you just pick up on there, which I think is really important, given the conversation we've had around the importance of people, is when you're doing this stuff and you're chasing for that information on a regular basis, it creates these great client touch points. It creates opportunities to have that conversation with a client, even if it is just, how's your week going?
Yeah.
And things that if we think about the way that accountants used to work in terms of once a quarter the client would turn up with all the paperwork, means you're having a once a quarter conversation at best, whereas we're now talking about kind of daily, weekly conversations with those clients. And I'm sure you'll have seen it, we had the conversation earlier, that the technology that's available to us now means we've got to rethink the way that we operate our processes and our business model, and we shouldn't be keying data into modern accounting software. We should be using auto entry and getting that data collection and helping educate our clients in the way that they need to send us the data and why they need to send us the data, so that we can turn it into meaningful information for them. So, I mean, how are you tracking? How are you keeping up to date with the jobs and the tasks and everything else that goes with a growing accounting firm?
I think one of the good things on auto entry is that you can easily see how many documents are in. So Mondays, my first thing is go in and then allocate for the team. It's like, okay, there's 100 documents sitting in this one. Can you please, that's our focus for the first couple of days, and then kind of work your way down to make sure that everybody's been dealt with every week.
Yes.
That cleared it off. So when I then go in
Yep.
on Friday, are they all cleared?
Yep.
Excellent.
So you're processing data at least on a weekly basis,
Yes.
which is fantastic. I talk regularly about daily bookkeeping and this idea that we're doing a disservice if we're getting data and we're not doing something with it. So I'm delighted to hear that you're on board.
I'm one of those people that on your phone, if you've got the wee red circle,
Yeah.
I can't deal with that. It has to go. So having something that shows me the numbers, I'm like, that has to get dealt with. This needs to be sorted. And again, then going into the system, seeing what bank transactions are sitting there that haven't actually been matched up and dealt with, and then doing the chasing the client. So it's a natural progression throughout the week, and having that order, means everybody knows what they're meant to be doing. And there's none of this kind of wondering, what task can I do today? It's like, well, all the ones that you're meant to. But like I said, it does mean that you've got that regular contact with clients, and it's when you're kind of after you've onboarded them, it's getting that training to them of if you're out, snap a picture of the receipt, because the paper receipts are the ones that get shoved in a wallet, in a pocket, then fall out, and you never see them again. So having the option to just snap, upload straight into auto entry, it makes it much easier on the client, and it's less onerous than if you're saying, can you please send us your receipts, scan them, do this, that, the other. It never happens.
No. And it's really important that we educate clients. And I often talk about the fact that we're business owners in the same way as the clients that we're serving. So we have to think about our profitability and running a business that's profitable for us. And I've always said that if you don't control the process, you can't control the profitability. So part of controlling that process is educating the client in things that we need them to do. And it's in their interests that they do it, because then we can support them in the most efficient way. We can give them the data. So just moving on slightly, because I talk about what I refer to as a critical triangle, and it's process, it's technology, and the last part is people. So we've talked about the fact that you're growing, you've taken on 3 members of staff or whatever it is in the space of 2 years. We have to have the right people doing the right bit of the process, don't we? Making sure that we've got the people at the right level doing the right bit of the work. How have you found recruitment and retention? It's every accountancy firm you talk to will say it's their biggest single challenge at the moment. How do you deal with it?
When I kind of realised what my firm was going to kind of grow into, one of the things I wanted to focus on was bringing in the new generation. So I have kind of recruited from graduates. And part of that is that you don't have to untrain bad habits, but also you looked quite a lot at the personality of people that you're bringing in, because with the tech, with all the training that's in the background, it's easy to train people up on how to do things. Obviously they've got the accounting knowledge in the background, so they're all accounting graduates, but they can then learn the systems, learn from the kind of training programs that are sitting behind all of the softwares, and you can't train a personality.
No, I said exactly that. You can train technical ability, but you can't teach people to have a personality.
So that's been a big kind of drive. So bringing in the new generation, getting them excited about the industry, and excited about doing it the way that we both agree that we should be doing it, with the client as the centre. So I think having straightforward technology is a big help, because people aren't daunted by having to learn all these new systems. They can see how they feed into each other, and they can see the logic behind it. So we've recruitment actually hasn't been too bad for us.
And you've retained as well.
And we have definitely retained.
So having worked with Sage, what surprised you most in the time that you've worked with Sage since setting up your practice?
I think one of the big things is the support element. A lot of other companies and things, it's very much automated. There's not a person to help you. With Sage, your relationship manager is actually there to help. It's not just a name on an email. There's somebody that you can phone up and say, I've got a problem, or if you find something you've never had to do before, you can speak to somebody. It's not just a online Autobot chat. And there's a huge community of Sage users and support behind it. That means that you can running a practice can be lonely.
Yeah. Very much so.
And getting other people's insights and thoughts and practices can help you work out, what's best for you and what's the best way to work yourself. I think, Sage very much has kept that human side.
Yeah, I was going to say there's an alignment, isn't there?
Yeah.
You've talked about the importance of the people in your firm in terms of the way you deal with the clients, the way you humanise the interactions that you have. So it's quite natural to kind of look for system providers and partners that are going to live by that same approach, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. You can't run a person-focused business without person-focused help.
Yes.
So yeah, it's very much bringing in that kind of personality and support, and knowing you've got that behind it.
Yeah.
You might not need to use the support very often, but you know it's there.
Yeah. The accountants and bookkeepers friend.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Vicky, been fantastic talking to you. Thank you ever so much for taking the time to come and talk to us about the challenges and the successes, of course, of growing your own accounting firm. I wish you luck, because I'm sure you're not going to be turning off the tap just yet.
Definitely not.
You're going to keep that growth going, and I look forward to following more of your journey in due course.
Yeah, thank you.